So here's my opinion. I think in America, there's a really simplified conversation that people like to have because it makes people feel good about themselves, or it makes them feel like things are moving forward or not. So it's easy to go good person, good guy, bad guy. Then we've solved it, and then it's done.
Right.
And I know that you've spoken on this. You said there were parts of Joe Rogan's apology where you were like, yeah, I appreciate that he has learned that he shouldn't be running around saying the N-word just to prove that he's edgy. And then you also said, I also don't know that I would label him a racist. And this really struck me because, I talked about that on the show, contrary to what clickbait will tell you, is I talked about that on the show, and I said it is something that I struggle with, and I could see you having a similar, a struggle in that conversation. Have you, and I'm only honestly asking this question because I myself am in a world of trying to understand and get answers for myself. Did you get any closer to understanding that? Like, do you think Joe Rogan is a racist? How do you feel about the whole thing right now?
I think there are two things that we consider when we talk about racism, and one is conscious racism and the other is unconscious racism. And so I have learned in my life to make room and forgiveness for people who are unconsciously racist, because our whole society is built on racist concepts. So if you're born into it, if you're not actively working to not be racist, then you have some of it in you. And I've had people that I love, who I know love me, always showed up for me, always were there for me. I had a musician, dearly departed, who I could cry thinking about him now. He loved me so much. We played together for 20 years, and every time we sang, he would just look at me with so much love and admiration.
Wow.
After 20 years, every time I'd sing, he'd just go, and he'd just
Wow.
look at me. We loved each other. But there were times when he would say racist things, and I would have to be like, hey, in the band, my band was mostly Black men and women, and we would be like, hey, like trying to educate him.
Right, yeah.
Because he was born into a world that taught him a certain way and didn't teach him other ways.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's conscious racism, when you know you're doing it. And like you said in your monologue, if a person keeps doing it, is that when we call them a racist? So if you know you're doing it and you keep doing it, I would say that is a racist. And so for me, when I think about, I want to be nice. I was going to say this name that I'm tired of saying, but for me, when I think about Joe Rogan, I think that he is being consciously racist. Since the early 1900s, we've had an agreement in our society that we don't say the word, or you have to suffer the consequences.
Right.
And so saying it and then being like, what are you going to do? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean that. Or I didn't understand, there was no context under which I should say it. I don't believe that. I think he knew there was no context. I think that's why he was saying it, because it got a rise out of people. That's why he would say it. He knew that it was inappropriate. And I think the fact that he did it repeatedly and was conscious and knew, I think that is being racist. And I don't like even saying that, because I'm a sensitive old soul and I want to believe the best in people. So when I first heard his apology, my instinct is to go, he tried. But when I go deeper and ask myself what I really think from my commitment to truth that I've made this last year, what I really think is that he was being consciously racist. And it makes me wonder what he talks like behind closed doors. If you have even a consciousness where you can call Black people apes, that's something there.